my name is T, and welcome to my channel. I created this channel specifically to share some fundamental Excel knowledge and tricks I've picked up over the years as a consultant. Today, we'll be diving into the 3 basic things that you should know before you start using the VLOOKUP function in Excel. Now, let's jump right in and get started. First basic concept, absolute reference. First, you have to understand the difference between relative and absolute references. Every formula relies on cell references, like in the VLOOKUP function that you see here. You have got cell reference I3, which is the search value, and you have also got cell references A1 to G9, which are the data set. By default, Excel uses relative references. This means when you copy a formula with a relative reference to a new cell, Excel automatically adjusts the cell references to match the new location. Think of it like this: the references move with you. You can see the formula in the new location. All the cell references have changed and are different from the original formula. Notice how the copied formula lands 3 rows down from its original position. Because of relative references, all the cell references within the formula also adjust by 3 rows to match the new location. While relative references are useful in some cases, especially for lists, they can become tricky if you're unsure of the relative position between the new location and the original formula's cell. If you don't want the references to move with you when you copy the formula to the new cell, you can change the references within the formula to absolute references. First, double-click or press F2, then go to the cell reference you want to change. Simply press F4, and you can change the reference to absolute reference with a $sign in front of both the column reference, which is the letter I here, and the row reference, which is the number 3 here. You can press F4 repeatedly to cycle through the different option. The first one is what you see here with absolute references on column and row, which means that both column and row will remain as I3 no matter what. Press F4 again to go to the second option, the absolute row reference, which is having the $sign in front of the number 3. It means that the row reference will remain as 3 no matter what, but the column reference will be updated based on the new cell location. Press F4 again to go to the third option, the absolute column reference, which is having the $sign in front of the letter I. It means that the column reference will remain as I no matter what, but the row reference will be updated based on the new cell location. Finally, press F4 again to go to the last option, the relative reference on both row and column, which is no $signs in both column and row. Again, both the column and row reference will be updated based on the new location. Just to mention that instead of pressing F4 button repeatedly to land in your choice of option, you can also type the $sign directly in front of the row and column reference when you are in the edit mode. Now let's see it with the real example. Let's say we change back the references of the first argument to absolute reference. When you copy a formula to a new cell, something interesting happens. You can notice that the reference of the second argument adjusts automatically based on the new location, while the reference of the first argument stays exactly the same. That's the difference between the absolute references and relative references. Now let's change all the references to absolute references. Enter the edit mode, go to the second argument, and press F4 to change both A1 and G9 to absolute references. Press Enter to confirm the changes and copy the formula to the new location. You can already see that the same result appears in the new location. Enter the edit mode, and you can now see that even after copying to the new location, all the cell references remain unchanged. This tip is especially helpful when you're copying the VLOOKUP formulas around your spreadsheet. By using absolute references, you can lock down the lookup table and other key arguments, ensuring they stay the same no matter where you paste the formula. This lets you easily focus your update on a specific value that you want without worrying about the rest of the formula changing unexpectedly. Okay, Now let's move on to the next basic concept. Second basic concept, setting up the data ready for future growth. Here's another key concept to consider. Structuring your dataset, like the one you see here, for future growth. This is very important as datasets often need to accommodate new information over time. It can be really painful if you are setting it up wrongly. Like the one you see here, every time you have added a new entry to your dataset, you'll need to modify the original formula to make sure it includes the new records you've just added. There are two ways to solve this problem when your data needs to grow in the future. Option 1, structure your data efficiently. This means setting up your spreadsheet in a way that can easily accommodate new information. You'll also need to update any formulas you're using to work with the new layout. Option 2, use the insert table function. This built-in Excel function helps you tell the program how to handle new data entries automatically. It simplifies the process and saves you time in the long run. Option 1, structure your data efficiently. The first step you have to do is to separate the data into different sheets. As you can see here, I've done exactly that in this data file by having the customer data, the product data, the promotion data, etc. separated into different worksheets. In the next step, we'll update the formula to select the entire data column instead of a specific range. To do this, we can simply edit the formula and remove the specific role reference from the dataset arguments. This is what I am doing here, entering edit mode and deleting the role reference. You can see that the highlighted areas have now changed to the entire column instead of a specific range. This is a fantastic improvement because it means that you won't need to constantly update your formulas as your dataset grows. Even if you add new entries to the bottom of the column, they'll automatically be included in your existing dataset specified in the formula. Now let's move on to option 2, use the insert table function. This is particularly useful if you can't separate the different data set into different spreadsheets, like what I have just done. To use this insert table function, first, you have to select the entire data set, like what I am doing right now. Then you have to go to the Insert tab in the toolbar and click on Table. If the highlighted data set contains headers, make sure you check this box, My table has headers, and click OK. You are all set. Now you'll notice that the formatting of the highlighted area has changed. Now you can name this table for easy reference. Let's use the name customer. If you go to the formula, you can see that there is no change to the formula itself. Now let's see what will happen when a new record is added to the existing data set. Let's imagine the data record at the bottom as a new entry we want to add to our existing data set. To do this, we'll simply copy the new record and paste it right below the last row of the existing data set. The new role has the same format as the entire data set. Go back to the VLOOKUP formula. You can see that the formula has now updated to include the added role. As you continue adding new rows to the data set, the formula will also be automatically updated to include the latest data role. This is another best practice to keep in mind when setting up your VLOOKUP formula. This way, you won't need to constantly revisit and adjust the formula as your data set expands. The third basic concept, unique identifier. What is a unique identifier? In simple terms, a unique identifier is a value that makes each record in your data set distinct from all the others. This distinct value is what allows VLOOKUP to pinpoint exactly what you're searching for. In our example, we're using the customer ID as the search key. Why? Take a look at our data set. You'll see that each record has a unique customer ID. This makes the customer ID a perfect candidate for VLOOKUP because it guarantees a unique match. Now, let's see what happens if we don't use a unique identifier as our search key. Imagine you want to use the contact person's name, like John Smith. Take a closer look at our data set. You'll notice John Smith appears twice for both Artisan Bakehouse and Sugar Rush Sweets. Now, let's say you enter John Smith and expect VLOOKUP to return the phone number for the specific John Smith who works at Sugar Rush Sweets. The problem is, VLOOKUP searches from top to bottom in your data table. Once it finds a match for John Smith, it stops searching and returns the phone number of the John Smith in the Artisan Bakehouse instead of the John Smith who works at the Sugar Rush Sweets. To illustrate this further, imagine the contact person for rolling pin is also named John Smith. Now, if you look at the phone number, VLOOKUP has returned the phone number of the rolling pin because this is the first John Smith that VLOOKUP find in the data set. Remember, the key to using VLOOKUP effectively is to choose a unique identifier as your search key. This means avoiding fields that might have the same value for multiple records. Why? Because a unique identifier allows Excel finds the exact record you're looking for. If you don't have a single field that acts as a unique identifier, consider combining several fields into a new search key. This can help reduce the chance of duplicate values for different records, making your VLOOKUP search key more reliable. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to let me know you want more content like this. Please let me know in the comments section if you're interested in learning any particular function about Excel. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button to join the community and be notified whenever I upload a new video. Goodbye for now and see you in the next video.